I'm going to make wine. This will be a very long process. Last year I made 10 liters of chokeberry wine and 5 liters of red currants / sea buckthorn wine. I mention it every opportunity I have. And it was a success. The chokeberry one was not very tasty, so this year I'm going to make something different. Here I have very many red currants and here black currants I was picking. So this will be a combination of these two currants. Black currant wine, here we have black currants, is the main traditional fruit wine here. And since we have a lot of currants, I was thinking that this could be a very nice combination, and I'm going to attempt to make it. First, we need to put the berries here in this fermentation bucket. So this is 2.1 kilograms of red currants and 2.3 kilograms of black currants. So let's put them here. It's a lot of berries, wow. And what we need to do now is I need to crush them with my hands. So you have to have clean hands, and we need to create a mass of crushed berries. It would be also possible to blend them with a immersion blender or something, but that was not recommended. So I'm just going to do this and we'll see, hopefully it works. It looks like we are done here. If you have enough strength in your hands and fingers, after some time it should look like this. If you don't have enough strength, I would say use an immersion blender for a while to make it mushy. And now we need sugary water. Here we have 5 liters of water. It's in these two containers because it didn't fit into one of them, only 5 liters. And we will add 2.4 kilograms of sugar. So let's dissolve the sugar in the water. It's a lot of sugar. Sugar influences mainly the alcohol content in the future wine. The yeast will turn the sugar into alcohol. So the sugar will mostly not stay there, it will be converted. Let's stir this and dissolve the sugar. This is lukewarm water, so it should dissolve easily. The sugar has completely dissolved. There is no more solid sugar in there, and we need to pour this water here to the crushed berries. This will not be easy, but I'm going. Okay, small amount flew out, but that's totally okay. Let's pour this in as well. And how much do we have overall? Okay, between 10 and 11 liters. I would like a bit more. We are aiming for 10 liters of wine, but we will strain this later, so there will be less. That's why I want a bit more. So when we put it in a demijohn later, the demijohn should be full. So I will add a bit more water. So I added a bit more water. We are now between 11 and 12 liters. And I also wiped the floor, so there is no sugary water here anywhere. And we need to stir this, of course. And we have now created a must, or musk? Must, I think. must. So it's this mixture of crushed berries and sugary water. Here we have a wine yeast, just a very small packet. And here 75 milliliters of lukewarm water. And we will just add the yeast here. It's quite a little amount. This yeast is close to its expiration date. It's from last year, but it should be okay for a few more weeks. So hopefully this will still work. And we will not stir this or anything. We will let it sit here in the water for 10 minutes. 10 minutes went by and we will now add 2 tablespoons of this must here to the yeast. Wow, this is a very thick must. Last year it wasn't so thick with the chokeberries, but currants, they behave differently. So 2 tablespoons and the yeast is now getting used to the mixture. 5 more minutes went by and we will add 2 more tablespoons of the must. And I forgot to mention, after adding must, we should stir it. Just like this, gently, nothing too crazy. And now we will wait 5 more minutes. And now we will just add the yeast here to the main mixture. Ta-da! Like this. And that's not all. Here I have nutrition for wine yeast. This is 1.6 grams. Again, a very small amount, and the yeast was 0.6 grams. So let's add that here. And we need to stir everything thoroughly, of course. I am a little bit worried. Some recipes say that you should use juice of the currants, not the whole berries. They contain a lot of pectin. That's why it is quite dense. So Tommy was saying that maybe I will make an alcoholic jam or something. We'll see. I'm still hopeful that this will work. Let's close the fermentation bucket. Here we have a lid. There is a bit of juice here. So, and we also need to put an airlock here. So the process is that the yeast will start fermenting the sugar into alcohol and it will be very active here. And by that process, CO2 is created and we need to avoid the air getting there, normal air. That's why there is this airlock. We will pour a bit of water in here, yeah. And when the CO2 is released, it's like little bubbles. It needs to go through the water. So normal air can't get in. That's the theory. And as you could see, the overall process of creating fruit wine is not very difficult in theory, but there are things that could go wrong. So it will stay here in the fermentation bucket for a few weeks, and then we should strain it and put it into a demijohn and everything. Hopefully we will show you the process later and this won't go bad. Wish us luck!
Today we are going to harvest our garlics. Last year our harvest was pretty bad. The plants looked weak and they were dying off. And then the cloves, the bulbs were quite small and not fully developed and so on. So this year I put them back here where we grew them 2 years ago and they looked the best yet. And this year again the plants I would say look healthy, definitely better than last year. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll have a nice harvest.
Yeah.
This year we have two different kinds. These two rows are our own garlics from the previous season, and we also got different bulbs from Peter's mom last autumn, so we planted them here. I think that's the case because they look a little bit different than these two.
Yeah.
So we'll see the difference.
Looks big.
And in an anthill.
Okay, yeah. Ants are everywhere here in the garden.
Looks like I damaged it.
Oh, okay, so this one will be for first one to be eaten.
It's interesting that it hasn't rained for maybe 2 weeks again. So everything looks very dry, which is great for the garlic because it shouldn't be too wet or moist when the garlic is finishing. But when I dig in, then under surface it's not actually dry. I can see some moisture in the soil.
That's great to see, because from the outside the soil looks absolutely dry, like a desert. But yeah, there is still moisture, so that's very nice.
That's the advantage of the clay soil, that it keeps moisture.
Yeah, I'm glad, because I started complaining again. Oh my God, we are in a drought again. But it's really good to see some moisture in the soil still.
This gardening season has been quite disappointing with all the weather. So it's nice to see that something was doing well, because the garlic looks amazing. We have 73 garlics that we harvested this year, and that's more than ever. And they all look amazing, really big and healthy. All of them survived, like every single one. That never happens. So great. I'm glad that I decided to put them back where I grew them 2 years ago.
It's so great. 73 sounds like a great number. I like it.
Yeah, it's probably twice as many as last year, because last year was weak. We've had over 60 previously, but this is the most ever.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. And all of them so pretty. Wow, very big and healthy and just wow.
And the new ones from your mom look even bigger than the one we used to grow. So I'm curious to see if it will be possible to store them all year long, like our other kind. And if yes, then we can continue growing these as well.
Yeah. The size is great. So we'll see how good it is to store them for how long. I'm tying the garlics into these bunches now, so they will hang in our barn and they need to dry off or something. And I wanted to say that, of course, we are very happy, and this is one of the most important harvests of the year, because garlics we use throughout the whole season. So garlics, potatoes, pumpkins, those ones are more important to us than some seasonal veggies. So we are really glad it worked out greatly this year. I'm making bunches 6 and 6 on both sides, and I just simply tie them together like this. And some people, sometimes they are artistic about this, and they really almost wove the garlics somehow together. But we are not on that level, so we are not doing that. This is easier and faster, and yeah, I can smell the garlic, and it's a great atmosphere here now in our yard. Very garlicky and very joyful. This one just wanted to join them. It's not that I didn't tie them correctly. There are 6 here. Tommy pointed that out. Always when we are filming, when I am showing something like 6, then 7 show up or something. And here they are hanging. So 73 garlic heads. So great. Two and a half weeks later, we can return to our currant wine, and we will transfer it from the fermentation bucket, which is this one, here into the demijohn. So that's the main goal today. We will remove the pulp. So let's remove the airlock first. Oop. And the lid, and let's take a look at this, what's happening inside. Ta-da! Okay, it looks nice. So that's cool. There is maybe something going on the top of the pulp, so I will remove the top layer and put it here into this bowl. Wow, it's so active. There were bubbles a lot, now it's not. The smell is nice, it smells like wine. And let's continue. So, okay, we can stir this and mix this. And we need to strain everything. So, let's go. At first, I'm doing it like this. The strainer is full, so I will maybe press a little bit with my hand. It's clean. And we will put the rest of the pulp here. And at the end, I will be squeezing it more. The pot is half full, so now we will transfer the liquid here into the demijohn. Hopefully, I won't spill. And it's flowing. In the demijohn, it looks more like wine. So now we are getting there. And we need to repeat all of this more times. For now, we have this amount, and now I am squeezing the liquid from the pulp. And hopefully we will get enough. In the end, of course, I didn't have enough liquid, so I added a bit of currant juice diluted with water and a bit of sugar, and it started foaming immediately. This happened last year as well. I was hoping that it wouldn't happen this year, but here we are. So now this is basically done. We will add this rubber thingy and the airlock, and that's it. Now we have to wait for 2 months or so, and it should get clearer and everything, and then we will transfer the clear liquid, the finished wine, into bottles. And that's it. That's the process of making homemade fruit wine, except adding fresh berry juice because now, yeah, it will get probably too active and the foam will be everywhere, but we'll see. We have so many sour cherries here that I started making another batch of wine. Here I prepared sugary water. Here these sour cherries are pitted already, so there are no pits, and our cherry stoner broke halfway, so I had to check everything and then do the other half by hand. So I know there are 490 sour cherries in here. So this will be another batch of wine, just smaller batch, 5 liters. The current one is here. The bubbles of CO2 are escaping, so I think everything will be okay. Hopefully, I'm hoping. And here I will make the second batch.